If you're hoping to help young people engage in career exploration, while it's powerful to have that in-person small group sit-down conversation, you're not prevented. In fact, there's some real benefits to being able to do it virtually. So you can still survey young people to figure out what they're interested in, what kinds of careers they might want to learn more about. You can still have them reach out and invite them to a group Zoom or a group video conference. And then as the educator, you can still facilitate them getting into small breakout groups and getting a chance to know each other a little bit more deeply and ask some kinds of questions. Something that we've been seeing as schools and districts navigate the really difficult logistics of figuring out if and when to open their buildings has been a surprising finding that although schools where you have hundreds or even thousands of young people coming together might pose a significantly high risk, local businesses and community organizations that are much smaller are often remaining open. And there may be opportunities for young people to connect and engage at those sites on an individual basis. So ironically, even when schools are closed, it could increase the likelihood and opportunity for young people to engage in things like informational interviews, maybe even a shadow day, or potentially interning. It's just a question of numbers. And so those interviews or shadow days can sometimes happen outdoors or in appropriate socially distant kinds of ways. But that's something that schools and districts should really look into.
Like I would have said not too long ago, that would have been very prior to the COVID thing, that was always the issue. Was it's hard for me to send a team of people or get a team of people in front of students because it's so expensive. But because of COVID, we actually, with this Aloha AI internship program for students, we had a couple weeks where one week I actually got 6 engineers and scientists from OceanNet to come on to a talk with the students. And I called it Meet Your Future Self. So the students could hear from these engineers and scientists and then ask them questions. Now, the way I structured it was I told everybody on my team, this is probably going to end up being an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I know you cannot afford to stay on for 2 hours or even an hour. So, but give me 20 minutes of your time. So I scheduled them. So I said, okay, hey, Ravi, you're this design thinking guru from the Stanford Design School. Can you come on, talk for about 10 minutes about your career journey? And then we'll have a 10-minute Q&A with the students. And then after that, you can go ahead and drop off, right? But now I have 6 of them, and I had a PhD in chemistry, a biomimicry person, bioengineering, computer science, all of it. So it was just this fascinating time. But that was a way we could have 6 of my people and just give these kids an incredible experience. But it wasn't like I was taking so much time out of the day for my engineers and scientists. And so this COVID situation has created the push to do things this way that allows us, I think, from a business standpoint, to do these great things for our young people that I think prior to, we would have just said, no, we can't do it. It's too expensive. This is again because of right now I'm doing this call through my phone, and so I literally just took my phone and took the kids on a tour. And because it wasn't safe to have 17, 20, I think we had more than 25 people online. It wouldn't be possible to bring them to the office at this point. But just using your phone and Zoom, I literally just took them around to the different parts of we took them to our micro fab center, we took them to our machine shop, our design lab. I couldn't take them into certain sensitive areas like our electronics lab and optics lab, but we took a tour around the office and shared how we're structured and why we're structured the way we are, why the office is physically laid out the way it is, because it's designed for collaboration. And then we went to visit our major labs, which are our bio labs and our material science labs. And what was really nice was we were getting ready for a big interview. So OceanNet has been working on a rapid test kit. It's a 10-minute spit test that costs $20. Doesn't require any special equipment, and it's designed to be a surveillance tool for detecting COVID-19. So we were getting ready for a big interview, and so the kids got to kind of see our CEO come in and kind of take pictures. And then before that all happened, they got to interview one of our lead scientists, engineers working on this new test. So it was a really great like behind the scenes moment. They got to see stuff happening in the lab and all the flurry of things going on.
We've had schools across our network that are engaged in exactly this kind of experience, and it's worked out pretty darn well. One of the upsides is that you're no longer limited by which adults can drive all the way into that day at the school building, find parking, take care of food and everything else. A lot of those logistical burdens that were used to be there, no, people can just log right in from their home. And additionally, you're not geographically limited. So it's now possible to invite folks who might live a little bit further away from the school or even on the other side of the world. This really opens up a whole lot more opportunity. Beyond that, there's a whole lot of adults who are now either unfortunately out of work or have more free time in their day because they're not commuting. So you can tap into a bunch more adults who might have been interested in the past but just didn't have the time. This can be a really uplifting opportunity for them because they're looking for human connection as well. And getting to meet with some young people who sort of want to be them when they grow up can be a really great way to give them a shot in the arm and make them feel a little more connected in their community during these times when connection is so sorely needed. Even when schools were physically open, young people didn't often write to the people they most wanted to meet and say, hey, would you be able to come in and visit my class? Now, this might be because the person they most wanted to learn from lived all the way across the country. However, in virtual times, folks are not only susceptible, they might be inclined to want to connect and give back to their community, and they're looking for a way to do that. These could be folks who are working in the music or entertainment or sports or scientific researchers. There really are a lot of people who would like to reach out and be involved in inspiring young folks right now. So whether that's for a classroom or a district or even up at a state level, we're seeing examples of people who have a certain amount of star power wanting to get on and talk with young people about how they found their own way to their particular career. And that can be a really great way, especially in these times, to help young people feel connected and inspired about a more hopeful future.